Hi guys, welcome to another video of headless browser execution. In Selenium, we sometimes need for execution the test cases into headless mode. So in this video, we are going to discuss these topics. You can say what is headless browser. So we'll be talking about this, and after that, we'll be talking about what all are the drivers which is supporting the headless browser executions, and also we'll be talking about what are the needs, what are the situations when you need this headless browser execution, right? And also we'll be discussing about how to achieve this headless browser execution. And after that, finally, each and every functionality that you are going to learn, you must have discussed about the what is the need or what is the advantage of this particular function, right? Because until unless you are not particularly aware of the advantages of the particular function, then you might have lost a lot of things, right? So for that reason, we have to know that what is the advantages, and at the same time, when you are learning something, you have to always focus on the what are the disadvantages of this particular function, right? So because this is needed for a lot of decision cases when you have to take a decision, or you in the work at the time of real time work, you may face a lot of issues. So in at that time, it is going to be helpful for you, right? So these are the things that you have to know at least what is before you are going to learning something. So let's talk about one by one this point. First of all, we will be discussing about what is headless browser, right? So headless is something which is talking about that there is no, you can say, visible, you can say GUI, right? So when I say headless browser, in the sense you are running your test cases, which is you are not able to see what happening there in the from the outside, right? In normal cases, we launch the browser, we can see that application is running, and whatever actions you will be performing for your particular test case, you are able to see in that browser, right? But if I say for headless browser, that means the browser which is not opening what in norm as it is open in the normal cases, right? So it is not the browser you will be running, but it is not visible, right? So those cases, those things, those situations we call as a headless browser, right? So let's talk about what all are the drivers support headless browser execution. There are a lot of drivers which is available. Drivers are available which support the headless execution. Let's say a couple of drivers are driver, HTML unit driver, and then we have Chromium, and at the same time we have Chrome also, Chrome, right? Firefox also support. Okay, so Firefox, you can say headless Firefox, right? And beside of this, there is another name Ghost or Phantom.js. Phantom.js is basically for the Python developers. So if we talk about the Java developer, you do not need this Phantom.js. Also, people do not work with the HTML unit browser because basically all the test cases we are working, most of the cases we are running into Chrome, either it is in Chrome or Firefox or Safari or Edge browsers, right? So we are not dealing with the Chrome browser, HTML unit or Ghost or something others. So in this video, we'll be discussing on this Chrome headless and Firefox headless, right? These are the basic browsers which is mostly used in all the projects, right? So we'll be discussing on these particular two drivers only. Let's talk. Okay, now let's move on to the next point, and here you can see what are the needs of headless browser execution, right? So needs or useful area, or you can say usefulness of headless browser. Headless execution, right? So I can say first, one of the big point, one of the reason that why people go for headless execution or useful, or you can say headless execution, that is because of let's say there sometimes you may not have the GUI available, right? When GUI is not available, I can say when GUI is not available or not required, right? So what I said, that when the GUI is not itself available or the GUI is not required. So what are the situations when we do not need this particular situation, particular GUI? So for CI/CD pipeline, right? So no one is monitoring those cases, whatever what is going there. So we can say CI/CD pipeline is there, right? Or we can say test server is there, right? So what is the test server is? Test server is like test server is a server, or you can say is a machine where you are running your test cases uh, mostly, right? So let's say we are doing execution, overnight execution of our test cases, right? No one is going to monitor what is happening there in the test case execution, right? So that are the test servers, which is actually people are not going to monitor what is happening. So for that reason, for that reason we can use the headless browser execution, right? So you can understand now. So the situations where you do not need the GUI to be available, or you do not have the GUI is available, or sometime what happen, you do not have to monitor the execution, right? So in that case you can go for the headless browser, or you, in that case, that is a requirement to execute your test cases in the headless mode. By default, if you run in the test cases into CI/CD mode, CI/CD pipeline, it is automatically executing in the headless mode. But in your test servers, you have to configure by yourself that how to execute the test cases in headless mode, right? Okay. Another advantage of headless mode is actually it is a lightweight. Okay. So what is lightweight means, the test cases, the if actually the browsers that you are running the test cases, right, that browser are not going to be open, that browser are not going to be launched. For that reason, it is actually getting rid of a lot of loading things, right? So for that reason, this execution is going to be a lightweight. Then the compare as compared to the normal browser that you are launching into your device and you run the test cases. So if you compare between, if you are running test cases by launching it and without without visible browser and the headless browser is going to be a lightweight browser. Okay. And definitely, if anything is going to be lightweight, that is faster too, right? So again, it is compared to faster is as compared to normal case, right? So yeah, these are the advantages that we can see. Okay. These are the advantages of using the headless browser execution. Let's talk about what all are the disadvantages of execution, right? So for disadvantages, I can say, so let's say I'm talking about now disadvantages. Okay. So now let's talk about the disadvantages. So disadvantages are like it do not have the GUI, right? GUI unavailability. So GUI is not available. Then why it is a disadvantage, right? In our previous I can say discussion, we said that the GUI is not available, GUI is not needed. In that case, we are doing this headless execution. Now here we are talking about that GUI unavailability is again and one of the disadvantages, right? Because the reason is, let's say sometime when you are doing some testing of your application, right? So it is not just running the test case, you and the test case got passed. That is not something you're testing. Testing is something that you are verifying not only the functionality, you are verifying the user GUI also, right? Application GUI also, that is something that you are going to verify that application is completely looking fine, or if there is any issue, if there is any compatibility issue, everything you are going to verify there in the testing, right? So let's say you are running your test cases, your all the functionality, all these functional test cases got passed, got executed. But what if the application is not loading? All the fields are not loading properly, right? And all, or what? How if your application is not compatible with the browsers? So that is something for verifying those things. GUI is important, guys. So this is why if you are running your test cases into headless browser, so this is one of the disadvantage, that GUI unavailability. So that means you cannot 100% ensure that you are confident with the GUI, right? Okay. Now let's move to another point. The another point I can say that if the GUI is not available, guys, then what happen actually? It is difficult to debug, right? When you are developing your test cases, when you are going to find out what is the issue there in the particular test case, right? Why the test case is getting failed, sometimes you have to verify the test cases and your output and with the browser, right? So at that time, it is going to be very challenging for you, that or it is going to be time consuming for you, that debugging is difficult for this headless execution. Yes, these are the advantages and disadvantages. So uh, yeah, although we have these all these disadvantages, this headless browser execution is basically used uh, for your regression test cases or the CI/CD pipelines, those cases, but not in the at the real time development. People mostly do not use the headless execution, right? Yeah. So yeah, these are the things that you have to know about headless execution. What is headless execution? What are the drivers support it, and what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of headless execution? Right. Now let's move to its implementation, how to implement it. Before we move to the implementation, I will take you to the Selenium official website. Okay. So here you can see we are in the Selenium dev official website. This is a blog page. Here you can find out that if you want to run your test case into headless mode, right? This is, you can see they are providing, this is for the Chrome driver. Here they are mentioning that the traditional headless and since version 96, right? So if your Chrome browser is till 96, okay, so you have to, For that for that case, you have to use this way, right? Headless mode. User get the full browser functionality event run executions. Between version 96 to 108, you have to use this way. Headless equals Chrome, right? So this is something the key that you have to use if your Chrome browser version is belongs to this 96 to 108, or if you have upper version of 109, then you have to go with this approach. Okay. So this is you have to remember, guys, or you can just visit to this particular page, and there from there you can get it. How can you verify that which browser version you have? Simply you can go to your settings menu option, and you can go to the settings, and here you will be able to find here one option is help section, right? From this help section you can see about Chrome, Google Chrome, and if you go to this, and you can see your browser version is 1024 for me right now, right? So it is, yeah, it is false to this particular version, it is greater than 109. So for me I have to use this particular headless equals new, right? And here if you come down to this page, here you can see they have given one example. They have given application, their programming script wise. First of all, you can see it is a Java and JavaScript, C Sharp, Ruby, Python, how you have to use. So everything implementation they have provided. For now, we'll be going with the Java. So here they are saying that the first section it is saying before, and the another one is after. That means this is how we had to use it earlier, earlier version of Selenium, but right now we have to use in this approach. Means the difference is, guys, here you have to say that options dot set headless. Instead of that, you have to add an argument there in the option, and you have to pass this particular parameter, right? So this is for your Chrome browser, guys. And if I talk about the Firefox browser, I'll talk you to the Firefox doc. Here you can see what it is saying. Selenium 4 equals Firefox 78 or greater. Remember, guys, if you are using Selenium 4 version or upper version, then you have to minimum, you should have minimum Firefox version is as 78 or greater than, right? Okay. Now here it is giving me the implementation for Firefox. Here I have what I have to use actually. We can say use Firefox options, new Firefox. Okay, and here you can see we have to set the argument options dot add argument. Here you have to pass the hyphen headers. uh, Check the difference between the Chrome and Firefox. In Chrome we have to use the double hyphen, right? Here you can see we are using the double hyphen, but for Firefox we have to use the single hyphen. Okay, let's go to the implementation part. We'll see how to implement this. I will take you to the simple my application, one of the application. Let's say this is the application. I'll provide the login functionality, and this login functionality, I'll do enter user ID and password, and I see that verification. I am able to log into this particular page, and I am able to see this particular text, right? This is my test. Let's say I want to verify. Okay, let's quickly go to the IntelliJ, and we will be implement it. Let's say I'm going to create a new class here. Inside of this particular class, I'll create, let's say, Selenium headless. One thing, guys, for now you can just watch, and you can try to understand this particular implementation. If you want to see, or if you want to get it the code, I'll be providing you the GitHub link there in my description, so you will be get the code from there, right? So for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a test case, and there we are going to uh, we will be running that particular test case into headless mode, right? So now here I have a Selenium base already defined. I am going to just call this particular Selenium base into this particular my test case. Let's say I say extend Selenium base, right? Selenium base. So I have extended it. Now here I can create a, let's say, first of all I'm creating before method. So in this before method I'll say public void and setup, right? Inside of this, I have already one method defined there is inside of this particular base class, that is project setup method. In this method, we are just launching a browser, and we are navigating to particular this website, right? So we will be calling this particular project setup method there in this before method. We will see project setup, and let's say I'm passing browser as a Chrome browser, right? So I'll be passing the Chrome browser. So I want to execute the test case into Chrome. Now what I can do here is, let's say I'm writing a test cases. Let's say test and generation I'll be taking from it, and I'll see public void, let's say login test. Okay, here we are going to do one thing, guys. In our last video we have already done the login part, so I'll just copy that login because I do not want to create again once again all these fields and actions, right? So what we can do, we can just copy this particular test steps. We'll be using it. Okay, now here you can see instead of username I can pass it hard coded data. Instead of pass pwd I can pass the hard coded data as admin, right? So this is how it will be working. And let's print this particular text also, what we are getting from fetching from the UI. So I'll be printing this out, print SOUT. So let's say title paste, you can say I can print home text, right? Okay, now I'm going to one more hook I'll be taking, that is in nothing but after method. And here I'll say public void and I'll say tear down, right? So in this we'll be just quitting the browser, so I'll say driver dot quit. Okay, now if in this situation I run the test case, it will be execute in the physical browser, that means not in not in headless mode, because we did not implement that scenario, right? Okay, so now let me execute the test case. Okay, so what I'll do, just execute it. You can see Chrome browser has launched. Enter the password, and you can see we got the login also done, right? And you can see it is fetching the text and it is providing the text. It is printing the text which is fetched from the UI, right? Now let's do one thing. We'll be running this same test into headless mode. What we have to do? You have seen already that we have to set when you are launching your Chrome browser. Before launch, you have to set the Chrome driver options, right? So we have to set this Chrome driver option. So let's do one thing. Let me copy this Chrome driver option, and while we are launching this Chrome driver, we have to set this before launch your Chrome driver. We have to set this particular Chrome option, right? So what you can do, just copy it, and we have to go to the my Selenium basic, and here you can see in this particular case we are launching the Chrome driver, right? So what you can do actually here, I can paste the code I have copied, right? And after that, this option I have to pass to this Chrome driver. Remember guys, if you are not passing this particular option, you can say option, you can say instance, then it is not going to be useful until unless you are passing there inside of your Chrome driver, right? So sometime open what happen actually guys, I have seen a lot of time people are setting the arguments, people are doing they are adding the Chrome options and they are setting all these options, all these arguments they have already set, right? But they are not passing that Chrome option, that instance, right? That object instance, they are not in that Chrome option reference, they are not passing into the Chrome driver. So there is no use guys. So remember this guys always. So what I have to do, I have to pass this particular reference to this Chrome driver. Then only it will work. Then only it will be effective. So let's run this. Yeah, that's all about the implementation of Chrome headless browser. So let me run this same test case once again. Right? Okay. So what I'll do, I'll run once again. Now you can see the execution got started, and Chrome browser is not launched, right? But the test case got execution completed. And here if I go to the my test case, you can see it fetch the text also, right? So now you can see this is something happened, right? But we are not able to see what happened there in the backend, right? With the GUI of the Chrome browser has not been visible to us, right? So this is something what happened actually when you are running your test cases into Chrome headless mode, right? So this is the beauty of headless mode, guys. The browser driver will not be visible, but your test cases will get executed. Now let's see quickly for Firefox also. We'll be doing the implementation for Firefox. So let's go to the official website. You can see here, and then you can see they are setting the option, right? So this is the option that we have to set, and we have to add this particular headless argument, right? So what we can do, we can just copy this particular Firefox option and just paste it here. Go to this Firefox, this where you are launching your Firefox, or where you have the code for launching Firefox. Let's change the name to app option. Okay, and what I have to set, I have to set this particular argument, right? So just copy it, and we'll see here. I have to see, so I'll say here if option, right? Now again, similarly, I have to pass this app option instance to this particular Firefox driver. Otherwise, it is not going to work, right? So quickly do one thing. First of all, I will be running this without the passing the reference, and after that, I will be running this passing the reference. I'll execute the test case. Let's just wait for it. Okay. So now let me run the test case once again. If I run this test case, I'm sorry. We actually not change the browser here, so I have to save Firefox. Now let's run this again. You can see Firefox has launched, and it will navigate to the URL. It will enter the user ID password, login done, and it will close the browser, right? Yeah, my test case got executed, and you can see the execution time it is taken for 16 seconds, right? Now let's try to do one thing. I'll be running this particular test case once again into Firefox browser, and I'll be using the headless mode, right? So what I can say here, inside of this Firefox driver, I have to pass the uh, Firefox option, that reference, right? So pass this particular reference. Now let's run this code once again, right? Let me build the project. Yeah, it's done. So let's run the test once again. You can see now test is now getting executed. You can see Firefox launched and login is also completed, right? Yeah, now here you can see we the test case got executed, and it also fetched the title that we are fetching from the UI. And also you have observed that Firefox has not been launched, right? We are not able to see Firefox launched, but it is not in the visual mode. It is headless mode. It executed in the headless mode, right? And also you can see the time difference. Now it is taking 12 seconds, right? Earlier case it was taking more than 16 seconds. Now it is taking 12 seconds. So now you can understand, if you have a longer test, right, which take at least 4 to 5 minutes to get executed, and the same test case you will be running in headless mode, then you will be able to see the difference between headless and non-headless mode, right? So let's say if you are talking about the bigger picture where your test case total, you have a lot of test cases, you have 100 or 500 test cases, so that will take, let's say, 5 hours, 6 or 10 hours, whatever time it is going to take. So in that case, if you are running the test case into headless mode, so it is going to definitely save lot of times, right? So yeah, that is why we say that headless mode is faster, it is lightweight, right? And also it is giving you the option, it is giving opportunity where you do not have the GUI, or you do not have the GUI, or you do not want to watch what happening there in the execution, right? So in that case it is going to be helpful for you guys. Yeah, I think this is clear to you guys. And I also push this code into my GitHub, and the link will be shared in the description part. So if you have any questions, then let me know. We'll be discussing on, or we'll be trying to resolve your queries. If you face any issue, any challenges, let me know. I'll be happy to help.